Hello! Hi, welcome back to my channel. As you've read the title, today is kind of more of a different video. This video isn't going to focus much on the kind of old news in the sense of he's trying to look like Jimin. I'm trying to focus on other stuff, basically his actions, the stuff he has said on Twitter, things that might not even be super related to K-pop, but it's just very problematic and I think it needs to be talked about. Please do not send any hate or any unjustified comments to anyone that's featured in this video. I think what I want from this is for people to kind of see the stuff that he says and the stuff that he has done. Take that as a way to be like, I should stop trolling him, hyping him up, because I think this is genuinely someone that we shouldn't give a massive platform to. One of the main reasons that has kind of made me want to do this video is that after I did my first video, Oh Ollie London, more and more stuff started coming out from him, more and more things he did, more and more things he said that was very problematic, and it kept pushing me to want to make this video. I've seen him being featured on a bunch of different and quite big K-pop YouTube channels, basically him trying to clear up his image, the YouTubers kind of taking pity towards him and feeling bad for him because of people kind of trolling him. While I do think people trolling him is bad, none of them have really looked into the kind of problematic stuff he has said and things that he has done, and I think we need to kind of acknowledge that and hold him more accountable for those things. And they're all saying that he's so nice and stuff. And the thing is though, what I quickly want to say is, I bet you he is nice to you on camera, and I bet you he is a nice person if you meet him, if he's kind to you, but that does not disregard the stuff that he has said and the stuff that he has done that is not acceptable. And I find these videos kind of paint him out to be more of a victim than he actually is. So, bit of background on Ollie London. The first time we ever saw him was in his Barcroft documentaries. You know, the ones where he was like, I spent $100,000 on plastic surgery to look like Jimin, and we were all there like, okay. Many people had a problem with his portrayal of himself. There's more on my first video about that. After this, Ollie began like pushing himself more on social media, which eventually led to his release of his single Perfection, and then the rest is history. So yeah, while I have spoken about his Barcroft documentaries and stuff in my other video, I think I'm gonna add a couple things and maybe kind of recover some stuff. So first of all, these documentaries came out of completely nowhere. Back when these videos were released, no one had really ever heard of him. No one in the K-pop community knew him. He didn't have a YouTube channel. He didn't really post anything about K-pop beforehand. And so it was kind of weird that this random person just came out being like, I want to look like Jimin, and he doesn't really seem to like K-pop in the first place. Until like 5 minutes ago. You know, in these videos you notice some sus things, as well as him when he went to Korea to get his jaw surgery, him saying and stating that he goes to all of Jimin's favourite hangouts and places where he might probably feel most comfortable at, and tries to bump into him and meet him.
So now that I'm back in Korea, I'm really trying to find Jimin. I'm going to all of his favourite hangouts, favourite places.
That sounds quite sussing to me. Looking back at my first video and looking back at all of these videos, I can kind of see, and I think that most of the things that he said and the stuff that he kind of portrayed himself as was for shock value and was to get attention. But it's weird because at the same time, when you still watch those videos, some of the stuff he says is so outlandish and like quite uncomfortable to the point where it's like, this can't be a joke. Like, he seems so serious about it. There was this one video by the YouTuber Sherliza Moé. I love her videos. I've been watching her for such a long time. But in that video, which I will link in the description, she basically exposed that he doesn't really care about K-pop or BTS that much, but he saw its rise in media and decided, oh, it's quite easy to capitalize on. Why don't I do that? She brought up some very suspicious things about him, like loving K-pop in Korea, such as like on his Instagram beforehand, before that Barcroft documentary came out, he never once posted anything remotely close to K-pop or about Korea until the Barcroft documentary came out, and then he kind of turned into like over-obsessed army. Beforehand, he kind of posted more about having like a lavish life and living in America and cars and shit, you know? I'm gonna come back to Sherliza Moé's video later because he basically tried to ruin her business and said some quite defamatory things about her with no evidence. One thing I didn't really talk much about in my video were his music videos, and I feel like I'm gonna just touch up on that again here a bit. He's not a very good singer. I don't think that had to really be said because I think we all know. His songs low-key sound like Europop mixed with EDM. Not really many K-pop elements in there. But the one problem I've had with some of his and most of his music videos is that he further perpetuates his like character of being like the famous Ollie London K-pop star. Very heavily fetishizes Asian people in his videos by basically, in a lot of them, such as Perfection, having just a bunch of Asian people sat around him, or in Mirror Mirror, same thing, adoring him, being like, oh, oh, Ollie. And I find that really weird and uncomfortable. There are like 1 or 2 white or black people in his videos, but it's mainly Asian people who are all around him acting like his best friends or kind of adoring him. I don't know, it just gives me a bit of a creepy vibe. Sometimes he makes it go to an even more uncomfy layer for me, especially like in his Mirror Mirror video where he had my friend Coco, basically feed him grapes, lay in a bed with him, and it was just really odd. It was just a bit weird. Anyway, this is something I just want to add. He made a song called Lockdown City in the middle of a global pandemic. The tone deafness of that. Kim, there are people that are dying. Let's actually get into the reality and the real grit of this video and the actual problematic things he has said and things that he has done. Some of the things he said, it actually shocked me. The first thing we're going to be reading are some of Ollie London's tweets. As you see in this picture, Ollie London is wearing cornrows. If you don't know why that's problematic, please search up cultural appropriation. Please look on YouTube and find some black YouTubers who are discussing the topic. Some people who I absolutely love are Noir, Cat Black. For me especially, like Noir, she has really helped me in the sense of confront different biases and different things that I have had, and I think she has done such an amazing job in explaining things. Releasing my debut K-hip-hop single soon, and it will be a collab featuring a very talented Korean rapper. Basically in this, he's saying, I'm releasing a K-hip-hop song. Okay. But he's basically being like, I'm releasing a K-hip-hop song, and the only way for me to be hip-hop or me to do hip-hop is to get cornrows and to emulate black culture. That's where it's wrong, Ollie. But the thing that gagged me was the thing that he said after. I've got a totally new hairstyle, so I look more gangster for my debut K-hip-hop single, which is debuting this summer. He also tweeted, gangster K-pop rapper, that's the new me. He looks more gangster because he has cornrows, saying this one hairstyle, which has a rich history behind it, is just about looking gangster. So this is what he tweeted, which is the main thing I will be discussing. I found to be the most problematic. I don't understand why people get upset over a hairstyle. It's hair. Get a grip. The most craziest thing people could get upset over. Trolls, there are so many people dying in the world and suffering from. Tweet your prayers for them and do something decent for a change. You know what? First of all, I can say the same thing about you, saying there are people that are dying. You decide to release a music video in the middle of a global pandemic, which, I mean, that's not safe, is it? And then you also decided to call it Lockdown City. So if we're talking about that, same thing goes to you. In the comments, there are a bunch of people who are saying, I am black, I am mixed race, I really don't agree with this. You don't understand the history behind cornrows, you don't understand the history behind black hair. Please do not do this. And then he tweets out something insensitive by saying, get a grip. It doesn't make sense to me that you're now someone who is a performative activist who is going to being like, Black Lives Matter, but yet doesn't listen to black people when they are telling you that this is not right. How is that okay, Ollie? His reply is invalidating their feelings and invalidating their experience of life. The thing is though, him wearing cornrows, he goes outside, no one's gonna bat an eyelid, no one's gonna care. He has white privilege. When black people go out and wear cornrows, they are seen as being lower class, which is absolutely disgusting. This is something that isn't for him to wear and isn't for him to be the one to say, it's just a hairstyle. Recently he has been very heavily advocating for BLM, which, I mean, Black Lives Matter is something that you should be advocating for. You should be talking about police brutality. You should be talking about these things. But I find it quite ironic that he is someone that is obviously disregarding black people and their views and opinions on different things that he is doing. Yet he's like, oh, I'm gonna go out and protest and take pictures. You know, that's also a thing called performative activism. We'll get into performative activism a bit later as well. He's had privilege his whole life. He doesn't understand what many black people had to go through, what many black people do have to go through on a daily basis. And so him invalidating these people and telling them it's just a hairstyle and telling them get a grip is really disgusting and annoying, because you're someone who should be educating yourself on something. If you make a mistake, you do something that's problematic, you do something that's racist, you do something that's wrong, and people are telling you it's wrong, they're literally trying to educate him on it in the replies. And yet he's like, get a grip. It doesn't make sense. You saw your mistake and you try to fix it and you apologize for that. But the fact that he's just telling people that it's just a hairstyle, get a grip, is a thing that makes me kind of just quite angry. And I've noticed this a lot when white people wear things such as box braids, cornrows. It's always kind of white people that are going, it's just hair. But then when a black person comes out and says, this is why I have a problem with it and this is why I don't think you should do that, they immediately invalidate them. What I find really sus is that he's saying it's just a hairstyle. So it should have no connotation, should have no culture to it, yet is associating it with black culture, saying he's making a hip-hop song, so he has cornrows. So if this has no association to anyone, it's just hair, get over it, then why do you automatically associate it with a group of people in society? He's talking and trying to emulate a genre of music that was created by black people and is trivializing it to an aesthetic. The thing is though, what I don't get is that he's like a 30-year-old man, he's been online, he knows about cultural appropriation, you can't not know about it. Posting this, knowing he's gonna get backlash, and thinks, oh, it's good because he's promoting his new single. If you see it, he's kind of doing like a Gabby Hanna thing here, where she starts drama in order to promote her new music. He's starting drama, basically appropriating a whole culture, and then he's promoting his song in it. That's the thing, he's trying to get buzz for his song, but the way he's doing it is really scummy. With Gabby Hanna, she might start drama with a YouTuber being like, you said this to me, and then they start drama, fine. But at least she's not going out there and doing stuff and saying stuff which is very insensitive to black people. He could have gone about this in so many different ways. He could have just literally promoted it. He would still get views because he's Ollie London. But the fact that he had to do it this way, I think is disgusting. Even if he's like, I just did it for publicity, that doesn't matter because you still did it. You knew it was wrong. This girl on Twitter said, Ollie London, this guy is such a tool. To be honest, saying someone's a tool is a pretty low-level insult. It's not really that big of a deal, you know? It doesn't really ruffle anyone's feathers being like, you're a tool. It's like, meh, okay, fine, whatever. But then Ollie had to reply, the only tool is you, a symbol of oppression and brainwashing. She then replied, brainwashing, you say? Nobody has been brainwashed but you. She clapped back. Ollie London replied with, sweetie, I'm not the one wearing a burqa, a symbol of oppression and brainwashing. She gave him a very low-level insult, and he ended up telling her that she is oppressed and brainwashed because she's wearing a burqa. You literally cannot make this shit up. While in many cases, religious coverings for women have been used and are still used in a way to oppress women in certain countries, you can't just generalize that all women who you see in a burqa or all women who you see in a hijab is oppressed, is brainwashed. The biggest factor you need to take into account is choice. Let's say a Muslim girl, let's say she's raised in England, what we learn in sociology called hybrid identity, where she shares like a half identity with England and then half identity with her family's culture. Happens a lot today in today's society. Let's say that happened to her, but she chooses to wear a burqa, she chooses to practice her faith, then what's the big deal with that? Why do you have to go and attack someone for their religion? And the fact is, if he saw a woman with a head covering who is Christian, I know a nun wouldn't ever have Twitter, but if you saw a nun who said that to him, but he wouldn't bat an eyelid, he probably wouldn't reply. It's the fact that we have this idea that all women who practice the faith of Islam are oppressed, I think it is wrong. He's using this girl's faith against her. He's basically trying to diminish her character and to attack her character in order to make her statement not look like it's valid or good. All she said was that he's a tool. That's literally it. And then he had to go in on her and say, you're oppressed because you're wearing a hijab. It's the fact that he couldn't respond by saying, actually, I'm not a tool. This is what I do. I don't agree with your statement. And show reasons for the fact that he isn't a tool. He didn't do that. He didn't do something like, I do this work, I do this, I want to help people, I'm sorry if you think that of me, but it's not true. He ended up just basically attacking her and her religion. Why, Ollie? Why can't you just leave it alone? Because there are some things that people are saying about you online, which is a lot more hateful and a lot more worse than what she said. But you know what? I think he saw her profile picture and thought, you know what? I'm going to get back at her. I'm going to just tell her she's brainwashed and oppressed because she's Muslim. It really is just disgusting. There's nothing more you can say about that. Hello, Editing Johnny here. So recently Frenchy Morgan also DM'd my friend Jessica Viba on YouTube, and she just did a video basically talking about those DMs, but she was kind enough to send me some of these DMs. Ollie London has had this anti-Muslim rhetoric for quite a while, because on August 2nd, 2019, he said, so good, Sweden overrun with illegal immigrants, Muslims. If you can't see what's problematic with that already, Sweden deserves to be overrun with illegal immigrants, and he's using it in a really, really horrible context. People have to leave their countries because I don't think you'd like to be in the middle of a war, Ollie, would you? And he's using it in a way saying it's so good because they let them in, that's what they deserve. These are people, Ollie. You need to check yourself, you need to check your white privilege, and, you know, maybe take 2 seats. No, maybe take a whole fucking table and knock it down a notch. The next part is about Sherliza Moé again. I think I've mentioned her a couple times already, but this is a part which also really angered me on her behalf. I saw this when she posted it first on her Instagram story, and she was very angry, as she should have been. Sherliza Moé released that video on him, called him out. That obviously really got to him. That hit a nerve on him, because he then, out of all the YouTubers, he hasn't really attacked anyone except Sherliza Moé for that one video. And she did something very different to every other YouTuber. He basically said, to YouTuber Sherliza Moé, why are you selling rabbit fur pom-pom chokers? Rabbits are alive for this. Before you try and say it's faux, it's not. You are using real rabbit fur from rabbits that are hung upside down and skinned alive. Horrible. This is real fur. You can tell if fur is real or not by texture, length of furs, and softness. Sherliza Moé sells rabbit fur pom-poms as accessories. Please tell her to stop the death of animals. She will say it's fake fur and cry like a baby. All fake, but she will say it to get views, like she does with every other fake video. The fact of the matter is the fur is real rabbit fur, likely from China, where rabbits are kept in horrific conditions for being alive. I don't think you're the person to talk about saying things or faking things in order to be controversial, because you want to know what? There are a lot of things that you have faked that we will be talking in the future where you attacked my friends. Everything you said and everything you did there was fake. Her videos aren't really fake. She at least provided evidence for everything she said and every assumption and everything she made in that video. You don't. You just say things outlandishly to get attention online. It's fake fur! How expensive do you think her shop would be if it was real fur? She mentioned many times that it's faux fur, and literally in the description, in her store, it says, faux fur. You really tried to find anything you can against her, which obviously you couldn't find much, and you tried to ruin her business. You said some defamatory things about her and her business, which is very, very disgusting. You just made assumptions without any evidence or facts. You could say, hey, at Sherliza Moé, is this real fur, is this faux fur? Because to me it looks like real fur and I don't stand with that. That's fine, but outwardly accusing her of using real fur is a bit far, isn't it? She always has bad things to say about BTS. BTS are the most purest, beautiful and kind souls in the world. There is nothing bad anyone can say about them ever. I will always defend them, but Sherliza always has something bad to say about BTS. Terrible. First of all, no she doesn't. This is one thing I found, a lot of Twitter stans and armies in particular have really taken her words out of context and tried to basically get her deplatformed because of something she said in her videos. And the things she said in her videos weren't anything against BTS. She is a BTS stan. She likes BTS. She said that many times. In her video, she spoke about whitewashing, and she used BTS's whitewashing as an example of how it's problematic and how a lot of these Korean shows and stuff whitewash these artists to make them look lighter than they actually are, and why that's a problem. Nothing she said was against BTS. She was going against the beauty standards that tell you that you have to have extremely pale skin to be beautiful. She delves into the history behind it as well. She didn't say anything bad about BTS. Ollie, I'm surprised you even know much about BTS, considering you didn't even know who the fucking leader of BTS was. Considering 2NE1 is my alt group, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh yeah, Minzy's a leader. No, it's CL. We all know this. And again, with this thing, she always has something bad to say about BTS. Provides no evidence. I think you could really tell that he got really irked by her video in particular. Because I know for a fact he's seen my video. I know he knows who I am. And he didn't message me about it. He didn't angrily tweet about me. Because I think the stuff I said in there. I've had one personal experience that I talk about too much. Only till now, I've realised how kind of creepy and weird it was. He ended up liking all of my pictures. He basically told me I was so cute, liked all my pictures, put heart eye emojis to a bunch of my pictures, and followed me. Doesn't follow me anymore. We wonder why. During that time, I was 18 years old. So I literally just finished school that month. Him being a 28/29-year-old, to say stuff like that is pretty sus. I think it's really weird for a man who is almost 30 to message stuff complimenting the looks in a flirty-ish way, who is just 18 and just got out of school. And I have a couple of friends on Instagram who he has messaged and is like flirting with them, who of course they are all Asian. But it's a bit of a pattern because they are all around 18, 19 or 21. And before people say, my mum is 35 and my dad is 43, there is a difference in those kind of age gaps than there is someone who is just the legal adult and someone who is 30 years old. So during the ages of 20 and when you get into your 30s and stuff, you mature in age. You mature in your thoughts and everything. The fact that I just left school, and he messaged me and commented on my stuff like that, that made me feel very uncomfortable. Another thing I want to add in is that Frenchy Morgan did actually DM me quite a while ago, and I told her about this. I said he actually messaged me when I was 18 and liked all my pics and commented things like cute, so pretty, and DM'd me. Even though I was legal at the time, I still thought it was very weird, as you can see here. And she basically also revealed at the same time that he was going after and flirting with a boy who was 16. Now, that is a minor. That's completely off limits. I do not have any screenshots of that, and she did not send me any proof of that, so I cannot confirm whether it's true or not. However, considering all the stuff she has sent out and has sent people like Jessica Viba, has been sending, putting on her story, the stuff that Ollie has been saying about Black Lives Matter and stuff, she seems to be quite credible at this moment. If this is true, that is beyond disgusting. I have nothing else to say. Frenchy Morgan, Ollie London's ex-best friend, exposed him. They broke up as friends. They don't like each other anymore. Frenchy Morgan went straight to TikTok, Instagram, and all social media. Started just releasing WhatsApp messages and different things and voice memos that he has sent to her, and is using it all against him. First thing, which we are going back to Black Lives Matter, back to BLM, is his performative activism. Let's give it an example. Someone sees on social media that Black Lives Matter has been gaining a lot of traction, and so they decide to constantly post about it or act like they're really involved with Black Lives Matter when they don't really care about the subject at all, and as soon as it dies down, they will stop talking about it, they will take their links out of their bios, they will not ever mention it again because it doesn't directly affect them. Mostly this is people who are white because it obviously doesn't directly affect them and they don't care, which is horrible because people are dying, people are being unjustly treated. She basically exposed a voice memo of Ollie London, which does link to his problematic tweet about the hair in the sense of that it's obvious he doesn't listen to black people and doesn't take things seriously, as well as it shows his fakeness, and it shows his performative activism very, very, very clearly. Let's just take a listen.
Music video, which is going to get millions. So it's basically every time I do a music video, it's like, if it's $1 million, it's £1,000. So, if I just keep releasing music videos, that's like enough. And then also because I've been a lot on Twitter, there's been so many people talking about me on Twitter because I'm supporting the Black Lives Matter and protests and stuff. So I had 200,000 views on the video. So because of that as well, I'm getting a lot of requests. So it's just, I'm just staying relevant in the news, on TV and stuff, because, the more exposure I have, if I'm trending on Twitter or whatever on TV, then the more cameos I get. So yeah, just keeping myself relevant.
Let me just quote him. He's keeping himself relevant. He's basically saying, I'm talking about Black Lives Matter so I can trend on Twitter, so I can gain money. He said that he's gaining money. He's getting more cameos because he's talking about Black Lives Matter, so it's helping him. And so he's staying relevant. Because it benefits him and it gets him video views, he's fine about talking about it. Essentially using Black Lives Matter and the fight against police brutality as a way him to make himself look better, for people to forget his controversies, and also to gain more money, to get a monetary gain out of it. Some people might not look as deep into that voice memo as I did and just think, oh, he's saying that, oh, he is essentially staying relevant because of that. But you have to look at the knock-on effect. The reason he is staying relevant is because he's outwardly speaking about Black Lives Matter. And people were starting at that point to be like, wait, Ollie London isn't really that bad of a person. Look, he's talking about Black Lives Matter. He obviously cares about this. He's posing for pictures with signs that say Black Lives Matter at protests and stuff. People started seeing more of the good in him and felt bad for him. But he's showing here that it's completely fake and everything he's saying is fake. What he did with the cornrows, he didn't listen to black people. He didn't listen to people telling him, please don't do that. These are the reasons why we don't like it. So what's going to say that he's actually going to educate himself on Black Lives Matter? What did we expect? Now we're getting on to the last two things. Sorry for my hair, I've been sweating. Is when you try to come for my friends. As you know now, me and KAACHI, all of them were all friends. We talk to each other a lot. They are my friends. I really like them. They're nice people. They're funny to hang out with. Ollie London, he basically admitted to Frenchy that he weaseled himself into that position in order to give them controversy and to make people hate them again. He really did that. That's malicious. That's disgusting and that's malicious. He ended up going to Channel 4 and stated that he was their publicist and got his own little section in the video. He is not their publicist. The only thing he's done, he's basically made it worse for them. He wanted people to associate them with him in order to bring them down. They've done nothing to you, Ollie. Leave them alone. Here are some screenshots that I will be reading from Ollie London to Frenchy Morgan on WhatsApp, and these are the things he had to say about KAACHI. Also, Frenchy Morgan DM'd me saying that she has loads of voicemails of him talking bad about KAACHI, which I would honestly love to hear. If you have those voicemails, please give them over to me. They get more trolls than me. They are more controversial than me. I don't get many trolls now. Most people are fans. I worked hard to change people. I have to stop there real quick. I think you've got that the other way around. They are not controversial like you, Ollie. Don't ever compare people who are just normal to being as controversial and as disgusting as you are. Don't ever do that. The trolls and fans thing, they did get a lot of trolls, but if you look now, they actually have a lot of fans and they don't really have trolls. If you look at their like to dislike ratio on YouTube, you'll always find that it gets a hell of a lot more likes than dislikes. Ollie, all your videos get primarily dislikes. You can tell that people don't like you and they're trolling you online. They have 0 star power, 0 personality. They will never be on TV again without me. 0 star power, 0 personality. Have you met Chinsa? She has the most incredible personality I've ever met. 0 star power. At least they can dance and sing, Ollie. You have no star power. The only star power you have is being controversial and problematic. And I don't even think that's star power. I think that's just being a bad human. Like, that's literally it. Yes, I already checked this week. Press got bored of them already. Everyone went crazy when they released a song. Now everyone got bored and actually mostly got trolls, not fans. I still have more fans with them across all social media. Ollie, your Twitter has like 30,000 followers but it's dead. You get like 8 likes a tweet. You don't really have fans. You obviously bought those. Come on. Let's just look at your ratios right now. Yeah, Ollie, you don't really have more fans than them over social media platforms, considering you have 108,000 followers, yet you only get, on average, about 4,000 to 3,000 likes per picture. Chunsa gets about 30,000 likes every photo. KAACHI Official get more likes on their photos than you do. They also have more engagement than you do. So I don't know what you're talking about, how you're more relevant. You have more fans than them because you don't. Their YouTube videos actually get views. Yours don't unless you say something disgusting and controversial in them. That woman is on thin ice. I could turn all my fans on her group and expose them if I want. So he's talking about Monica there, which I find very rude, because I think that Monica has actually been very nice to him. This is the most disgusting thing he said about Monica, and I feel really bad for Monica. There are still a few things I need from that woman in Korea, so I will not cut her off yet. But then he proceeds later to say, so don't worry, I will bite my tongue now, get what I need from her. But she made the worst mistake. I am a very nice, respectful person. Nice, respectful person, but then you're admitting to using someone with malicious intent after you get what you want in Korea. You're just gonna like fuck her over. That's disgusting. That's a horrible thing to do, Ollie. It's the fact that he has been so rude to her, but then admits that, oh, she's helping me get stuff in Korea and she's helping me with my career, but I hate her. But I'm a respectful person, so I'll bite my tongue. You're not respectful if that's how you're gonna actually treat her behind doors. And here's something that I want to read to you. I will get my revenge. Trust me, causing a storm. They fucked me over big time. It's fine. Will get me so much publicity, media, and YouTube stock tomorrow. I am sending press release from anonymous email to all K-pop YouTubers. Guess who received an email from the K-pop Times 2018? I wonder who that fucking is. So if anyone wants to know, I don't care. Ollie London's secret anonymous email is called the K-pop Times 2018. Looking at this, I can't believe I didn't figure out when I read this at first that it was Ollie London. Because it says, the rumours are true. Europe's first K-pop girl group band, KAACHI, confirmed to work with controversial TV star Ollie London. And then, like, the whole thing speaks about how Ollie London's newest single, Mirror Mirror, and his new single that is coming out. And, like, reading it back, I'm like, this is so fucking obvious that Ollie sent this to me. And also, he sent it to JoJo Spotlight. Shame on you. Because JoJo Spotlight about KAACHI, I really didn't agree with it. And this was even before I spoke to KAACHI and I liked them. When I saw that video, I was quite disgusted because calling them like pop stars and prostitutes and stuff, very misogynistic and just disgusting. You're kind of just comparing them and saying they're kind of sex objects, which really kind of angers me. And people did call him out about it, and he just said it's a joke. But sometimes I think you have to realize when jokes have gone too far, and things that you should say, you should just not say them. But yeah, he basically sent this to me and tried to get me and all K-pop YouTubers to make a hate video on KAACHI, basically. The thing is though, Ollie, if you did like the slightest bit of research, you would find out I was following all of them, and I was actually talking to them, and I was friends with them at that point. So the fact that you sent me this email trying to get me to change my opinion on them and to hate my friends, not really gonna work. The last thing I want to talk about, which is Ollie London and in the Woojin situation. Jessica Viba, my friend on YouTube, she made a very good video about this. She spoke about him acting like his Twitter got hacked, which I don't think it did at all. I think you need to check out that video, because I'm not going to speak much about this, because I think I need to wrap this video up now, because it's going to be too long. He defended Woojin and didn't believe the victim, and obviously he saw that he got backlash on Twitter, so then he decided to make himself look better by acting like he got hacked and saying, oh, Ollie London's Twitter DMs, a bunch of K-pop stars responded to him. What hacker would tweet that from Ollie London's account, thinking like, oh yeah, we're gonna get some tea on Ollie London. Oh, K-pop stars have been responding to him. They really like Ollie London. It's like, loads of victims of stuff, of what happened in the past, say they feel embarrassed. They feel ashamed of themselves. They say they don't want to go to the police. They feel ashamed to literally go to the police and plead their case, because in a lot of cases, people don't believe them. People don't believe the victims. And this is exactly what he's doing. He's choosing to believe someone who has been very sus at this moment, in the sense of making basically a fake agency and other stuff. Ollie London could have easily seen all of this and still goes, well, the girls didn't go to the police, so obviously they're lying. Like, I support Woojin. It's like, it baffles me. What I really think needs to happen with Ollie London is we need to stop feeding him, commenting on his stuff, stop liking his stuff, stop watching his videos, because that is gaining him popularity, and that is telling people that you can become famous for the complete wrong reasons, to say disgusting, controversial things, and to be horrible people, and you should become famous. That's not what we want people to see. Also, people are being like, well, you're bringing it up now, and it's because no one has really brought all of his problematic stuff in one video and put it together. I'm doing this because I've had enough of it. I've just had enough of him. Ollie, if you're watching this video, I advise you to stop being such a controversial and dismissive person to people, especially in the case of Black Lives Matter, and especially to black people in general, who are telling you not to do something and then you do it, and you take your white privilege and act like what they're saying doesn't matter. If I can quote Tati Westbrook, to get off your high horse, genuinely just stop doing horrible things to people and saying horrible things online. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Bye.